Hi, after a weekend away at Just Campers, uh, camper weekend, VW camper weekend, I decided to buy a underdash tidy, mainly so that I've got somewhere to keep my cup of coffee, but also the other trash that one accumulates in a camper that likes to be near the steering wheel. Um, Maps, telephone, that sort of stuff. Anyway, got it home, opened the box, read the instructions, and they seemed simple enough. I'm quite cautious about something that says it's simple enough. I find that if somebody knows what they're doing, they tend to forget those little points of finesse that take a job from a 1 hour job to a 3 hour job and then calling in someone to give you a hand later on. So, on opening the box and reading the instructions, one of the things I found in there was, let's show you this first. This is the half the tray tidy with the handbrake going there, and this little device sitting the other way up like that on there. So it sort of sits like that. Now, on this bit here, with the tray hanging off it here, you get two nuts and self-locking nuts and a couple of bolts to fix that there. You're also told in the instruction there are a couple of marks on here to show you where to drill. There's two 6mm screws that hold the handbrake shaft to the dash so it doesn't just flop around. That sits behind here, and the 6mm screws that go through that go through this up into the dash. Up to there. Without those marks, I've got no idea where that's supposed to go, and as you can tell with the handbrake shaft coming through here, there isn't a lot of leeway. I have decided that actually, before I start drilling these holes, I'm going to go down to the camper van and I'm going to put everything up. I'm going to take the handbrake handle off. I'm going to release the screws off the handbrake handle support, use the support to find out where the holes should go, fit this to the camper, and then look at doing the rest of it. There's these 4mm holes here are supposed to be drilled now as well, but I'll have a look when I get there and I'll show you what I'm doing whilst I'm doing it there. The other thing worth noting at this stage is that in the instructions they actually say to drill this as well. There's a little sort of bulb here that is a hanger, I'm going to call it, and then later on one drills a couple of holes up through here to mount this with a self-tapping screw. The pack comes with the nuts and bolts and two self-tapping screws. However, it doesn't tell you when to fit this. It tells you to bolt this through to the other bit, and then it doesn't tell you a lot about the order of the other things happening. So we'll find out what makes it easy and what makes it difficult as we go along. I probably won't show you me drilling that, but I will show you as much of the rest of it as I can. Off to the camper van now with a pin punch to take the handbrake assembly out, but I'll show you all that when I've done it. First time doing these, forgot to tell you. I'm marking the holes. To make marking the holes easier, on the bottom of the support, I've actually put some masking tape on there. I've noticed black ink on black plastic is not particularly visible. Also, things tend to slide easier, so a little bit of masking tape. These holes are drilled 15mm from the centre and 10mm from the back. To find the centre, I literally went corner to corner, corner to corner, and then used a square from the back to line that up. Gave me a nice measuring point to go from. So that's 1 centimetre, 1.5 centimetres. Again, we'll check out the exact measurements and the exact lineup and the aesthetics of it as we're assembling. So. Okay, the tripod didn't really seem to work very well. I don't know if you've ever tried to set up a tripod in a cab of a T2 bay window. Not easy. So, there is the handbrake. That little blue wire with a yellow tag is an earth off the radio. And just next to that, you can see another silver screw. Those are the two 6mm screws that, as you can see, hold a little black bracket in place that actually holds the shaft of the handbrake. That is left in place, and the black thing we marked up earlier on is going to go there. I'm going to have another go at setting up the tripod, and we'll see how we go from there. The handbrake's on, and this is the tool we're going to use. It's a 3/16 or 4.7mm parallel punch. Fits neatly in the hole. The little split pin's going to come out there now. This bar is quite long, and I'm sure you all remember physics in school. So the harder I hit this, the more likely I am to bend this bar. So we will use the lightest hammer we can find and gently, see how that's bouncing there? That's trying to bend the bar. So and I can feel it trying to come out the other side there, actually. The handbrake's on, so I'm actually going to release that a little bit. Probably not the wisest move, because I might not be able to put it on again afterwards, but there we go. I can feel it moving now. You see it coming out there? So just before we get all the way out, let's put the handbrake back on. And a couple of little taps, and there we go. There we go. And that's what we've been after getting out. A little split pin there, as it says, drive it there. So, right. Next stage, as I'm sure you can work out, to remove the handle and the little grommet that goes on there. Now, we just simply undo those two 6mm screws. This bracket will come off, I hope, and then we can find out where the screw holes line up to. I've just chucked a bit of tape round this little lot here just to move it up out the way. When the tray tidy goes in, we don't want that there. Now, these two screws here have to be undone. Sadly, in the process of doing this, I've discovered that this bit that goes on the shaft here sadly does not simply slide off. It was a bit too much for me to hope, I suppose. So what I'm going to have to do is line up the bit that's going to go on there like that, mark out the centre of the two screws and do it from there. Now it's going to be me scrabbling around in front of the camera, and you've seen my legs enough today, I don't think you need to see them again. I found out where the screws mark on here. There we go, just there. I know that one's a bit tatty, but I know where it was because I drew it. So, checking by putting it on the right way round. The screw holes in the dash are actually ovoid, so we've got a bit of movement there to move the the relative holes of this and the clamp back and forth a little. So, presuming the holes are in the middle, I can elongate them later. We can just draw a line down the middle like that. You'd be amazed how good the human eye is at judging where the middle is, and just using a straight edge, and believe me, with a 6mm hole, it's not going to make that much difference. So I'm going to go and drill now, and then we'll put this back on, and you can laugh at me struggling with the trying to get the screws through the dash and into the back of that bracket. Okay, so we have the piece drilled. I haven't actually checked the holes line up yet. I thought I'd do that in the most embarrassing way possible. The camera angle is supposed to be the best lighted I can get on it, so we're going to slide that into place. It doesn't quite line up with the bracket behind it, unfortunately. Where the handbrake slides through, I was hoping that this hole here would match perfectly to this hole here, but it doesn't seem to. Anyway, we're going to slide this on here. As far as it will go, and then once again we're going to. So we have that lined up. Screws and screw hole, as you can see. It's always worrying when something happens so easily, isn't it, eh? I've just realised, of course, when we undid the bracket that's sitting behind this plastic, it sort of popped up a little bit. So I wonder if that will drag this whole thing down enough as this goes up to make it seat just that little bit better. So, was slightly out. So I'm going to open this hole up a bit. We have quite large washers that will thankfully hide a multitude of sins, and we'll just move it over a couple of millimeters, and that should allow us enough play to line these holes up again. Okay, we're ready to put it on. We've elongated the hole. We've got one nice round one. We take our masking tape off, otherwise it'll be there forever and ever and ever. Or until somebody else says, oh, I've got to get behind the dash, how am I going to get there? Slide that on. And line up one of the screws. And if we're lucky, whoops, it goes in first time. And of course we're never that lucky. So, let's try the other hole. So, see if the holes are lined up. We've got a pin. We just jiggle it around until we find one of the holes. It's there. So we've got that one in place there. Let's see if we can't get a screw into it nice and easily. There. Now, see if this one lines up just by magic. There we go. Do we? Seemingly not, right. Still missing it. There we go. And as if by magic, it's all tightened up lovely. Now, so we're going to refit the handle. I think the plastered finger is going to have to be retreated. So, on goes the grommet, on goes the handle, and you should be able to see where the holes line up. Now of course we had the drift or punch from earlier on, so that goes straight through the handle turns, of course. That goes through. We know we're in place for the top half. That goes through the bottom half. Take one split pin and again gently tap it into place. Now I say gently because again the bar is extended and is likely to bend. So now we've got it anchored, we can once again release. It needs to be out a bit more than that. There we go. and tap. Oops. Because the bracket behind here, we know is quite a robust little bracket. Of course, shouldn't be doing this on one of the hottest days of the year. So, there we go. Done. Right, I've come to the conclusion, through offering the tray up, that the speedo cable there will pop round the bottom corner of this as it goes into place. However, the back of the tray, in order to meet the fuse box, of course, is also there. The back of the tray doesn't quite meet up with the piece it has to go into here. There's quite a bit of gap here with it like that. So if I pop the speedo round the other way, you can see that it now fits quite snugly. The real problem now is that this only just meets up here. So that is a nice joint there. That would be a nice joint there. This won't really have any support here. So, bit of brute force and ignorance, and I can drill that hole there, drill that hole there, put that together once these are in place. That'll give us a bit of strength. Self-tapping screw going in there and there should have plenty of strength in it. 6mm nut and bolt there. So next time you see me, we will have drilled the holes in here and drilled the holes in here. Right. So that's the first hole drilled. I'm now going to quickly screw this in place so I can drill the correct hole here in from this angle and put the screw in there. This then should be tight apart from the bolt that has to go through there. We're going to put the earth on first, screw that into the plastic a little bit. Okay. Screw that into the plastic a little bit. So, there we go, that goes into place nicely. There we go. That's in place there. See, if we drill a hole in this one, we're going to go into this post here. I want to keep the holes in there to a minimum, so I'm actually going to drill a hole in this way. I can't really get a good shot of doing that, so I'll pause it now. The hole is drilled, as you can see. Because it's on a curved surface, when you drill from this side, you might want to use a little punch to centre that, to stop it wandering. You can see my drill did actually wander a little here. Okay, what I'm discovering here is that it's nigh on impossible to use the electric screwdriver to screw this in, because you just can't get the angle. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Fortunately, I have some other screwdrivers with me, and that's what we're going to do. I kind of think that's the best angle we're going to get. The first drill hole I made here is in the wrong place. It needs to be somewhere around here. Um, the only way I can get that to hold in place doing it by myself is actually to drill this one first. So I'm going to sellotape this bit and this bit and this bit together as best I can, and that should allow me then to sort of line it all up nicely like that, which of course now I've just done. That lines up there, okay. Have I got enough elbow space to get in there? Yes, I have. There we go, where's that gone? Oh, there's a bloody screw in there, isn't there? As you can see, it was quite some way out actually. There. Now then, once again all these wires have all come undone and loose. But I think I can push them out the way with a screwdriver. I can't get in there with an electric screwdriver again. So once again, we resort to old-fashioned methods. There we go. As that's starting to tighten up, move all those out of the way. That lines up there, and that lines up in that corner there over by you. So, as you can see, it all lines up nicely. The masking tape is still on the centrepiece at the moment, purely because I haven't taken it off. I have yet to drill and screw this bit. You're going to get a shot on my shoulder. It seems to be the only way I can do it, so I'll do that. I suspect I'll have the same difficulty with getting the electric screwdriver onto it, so I'll end up doing it by hand. And then we'll move on to the last touches in the centre. So again, the bolts that go through, it says 6mm hole, so 6mm drill. Push it back a bit, make it nice and somewhere, and oops, oh, not too sure quite what happened there. Okay, it's all very awkward, this, you know, boys and girls. Oh, there we go. One nut. Sorry, one bolt. Oh, crikey, that didn't sound good, did it? Ah, there we go. Oh, no, we don't. There we go. Still a little proud, but we can live with that. What I don't want to live with is the masking tape. So we'll take that off now, before it becomes a game like the other side. Alright. Washer and a nut. Because it's a nylock, I can't get it done up really nice and tight, but that's okay. Number twosie woosies. Washer and bolt. Try and put it together with one hand. There we go. Of course, because it's plastic, it sort of leaves a burr. Because it's plastic, it sort of leaves a burr behind it, so you really want to have a little sharp knife to get rid of that, because you'll find it gets in the way otherwise. Always the way, isn't it? Always the way. Let's see where this hole is again. There we go. And then it should, there we go. Now, should there we go. Line up nicely. So again, washer, nylock, on we go. And we drop them, of course. Now, nothing now remains for me to tighten those up with spanners, sockets. So, ring spanner on behind, little ratchet on the front. Next one. And there we have it, one fairly robust shelf tidy.